So you guys want to know the top 5 most underrated neighborhoods right here in Seattle, Washington? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about exactly that. What's going on, everybody? It's Justin Gazaba, and this is Living and Moving to Seattle, Washington. This is the channel. If you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. This is the channel that gives you all the details, the nitty-gritty, everything you need to know about living, working, playing, eating, sleeping, drinking, and all the fun stuff right here in Seattle, Washington. And in this video, we're gonna talk about underrated neighborhoods. The top 5, what I think are the most underrated neighborhoods right here in Seattle, Washington. And we're gonna focus on Seattle, on the isthmus that is Seattle, Washington, surrounded by water. We're gonna get into it right now. So let's just jump in and get after it. I have a list of 5 neighborhoods here, and I'm gonna start, David Letterman style. We're gonna start like the top 10. We're gonna start at the 10. I don't even know, maybe that's over, but start at 5 and work our way down. And we're just gonna get straight into it. Listen up, if you're watching these videos and you haven't reached out to us, ask questions, sit down with us, see if we can help you. We're helping people make this move all the time, right? So shoot us a text, give us a call. Okay, that said, I wanna start with a neighborhood that might feel a little obvious, but really just doesn't get the attention it deserves. Now, I think it's underrated for the location and what you can get. It's definitely a lifestyle choice because you're more likely to find a condo in this area, maybe a townhouse. When you start getting into single families, you've kind of changed neighborhoods. And what I think is really great about this neighborhood is its proximity to bars and restaurants, super walkable, and amazing transit. Plus, you have just downtown Seattle at your fingertips, right? And so on the registration, when you see Seattle, they're gonna call this neighborhood Uptown. But everybody in Seattle, you search the Google map, it's gonna say Uptown. And the Uptown Theater is there. But everybody in Seattle calls this neighborhood Lower Queen Anne. And Lower Queen Anne, I promise you, is so underrated for what you've got there. It has little shops, little restaurants, walkable streets, great transit, easy access to downtown, and just cool old turn of the century apartment buildings, condo buildings, even a couple of co-ops in there, and just a really very, very cool older style, very, very traditional buildings, like little 2 bedrooms with really neat woodwork and cute little kitchens, and just darling as you can get, like really, really cool spots. Also, there are some townhouses that are popping up. Obviously, that is the new normal for Seattle, right? And then as you get into Queen Anne proper, right, the more lofty Queen Anne, you'll see those Queen Anne Victorian homes and a lot bigger homes. But Lower Queen Anne, some great older hotels, some great bars, some great, like the Uptown Theater. There's the fanciest Dick's Drive-In. It's not even a drive-in at that point. That's the fancy one that you can go in and actually sit down. All the other Dick's Drive-Ins are actually like, you go up to a window and order from a window, right? The one like on 45th or on Broadway or any of them, right? But the fancy one is right there in Lower Queen Anne. So definitely something to consider if your lifestyle is, if you haven't accumulated enough stuff, you don't need a garage, right? You want to live that carefree, car-free lifestyle. Lower Queen Anne, probably more so than Capitol Hill, but that would probably be the next choice. Everybody knows Capitol Hill, right? Everybody knows Capitol Hill. Everybody knows Ballard. Everybody's heard of, Pioneer Square and downtown. Probably even people talk about Belltown, right? Green Lake. Those neighborhoods, the U District, everybody kind of knows, right? I feel like Lower Queen Anne doesn't get enough credit. So we're gonna start that off at number 5. Have you ever heard of Georgetown? Now Georgetown, that neighborhood, is only one of 2 neighborhoods in Seattle that has a light industrial zoning next to a residential zoning. So I'm sure you can imagine the one everybody knows is Ballard, right? So Ballard has that light industrial, and residential zoning. That's why we have all those breweries here. Well, guess what's in Georgetown? Breweries, right? So Georgetown, there aren't, in true Georgetown proper, the neighborhood itself, where the houses are, there's not that many houses. It's a tiny little neighborhood. It's more, there's far more industrial space in that area, but you can be down very, very close to Georgetown if you're like in Allentown or near the Duwamish, right? Or just on the other side of the river, maybe you're you know, close by there, this Sodo area. But Georgetown really is, there's just this little spit of houses down there, and there are some cool shops. There's I want to say it's a trailer park flea market down there. Georgetown Brewing is down there. There's some great taco shops and a bunch of other breweries and fun stuff to look at. So Georgetown really, you know, if you're thinking about, you know, a neighborhood that is going to have you close access to South Downtown, right? Maybe the King County airport, which is Boeing Field. Boeing rents it from King County down there, and you're in that area. You don't really want to be in Tukwila or any further south. You don't want to be down in Buren. Georgetown is a very, very cool neighborhood with lots of little bars and breweries. It's a very, very cool area. So definitely worth checking out, Georgetown. I don't think, again, like it's on this list because I don't think it gets enough credit, but it is a very small neighborhood. There's just not a lot to choose from there. Number 3 on this list is, I'm going to tell you, and now this might go, I think the last one's going to surprise you, but I think this one is going to catch some flack because this is a bigger neighborhood that a lot of people do know about, but I feel like it's a second choice and it shouldn't be. A lot of folks, again, you know, I talk about Ballard a lot, spend a lot of time in Ballard. A lot of folks, that's the hub where they want to be. Finney Ridge, Ballard, you know, Whittier Heights, Loyal Heights, those are all neighborhoods in Ballard. Greenwood has tremendous amount of things to do, and it's just a little bit quieter, right? It's just a little bit quieter. And so bars, restaurants, walkable, they call it the Miracle Mile. It's just one, you know, it's really, really easy to get to everything because it's all right there. But in Greenwood, and even if you come over a little bit west of 8th and Crown Hill, you're going to find townhouses, you're going to find a few apartment buildings on Greenwood Avenue, and then you're going to find 2-bedroom houses. I know there's a few 2-bedroom houses because I just was looking at them today for some folks, and then there's regular 3-4-bedroom houses, single family houses. Even still, it's one of the last neighborhoods, depending on your price point, where you're going to get a garage or off-street parking and really, given what Greenwood has to offer with the food and restaurant scene, there's a couple of theaters, independent theaters as well. It's really pretty cool. I don't think enough people are like pro Greenwood enough. They have a massive car show in the summertime. That is, if you're into that sort of thing, I love going. I love seeing everybody there, and they shut down the streets. It's super fun. But I don't think that Greenwood really gets enough credit for what you get bang for your buck wise, what you get neighborhood wise, and how easily it is to access to go north and south, right? Remember, Seattle's on that isthmus, right? So we're trapped in by water on both sides. So north to south is really easy. Most people work downtown. Even if you're doing work from home or whatever, you might have to check in, so you have to get downtown maybe for a meeting or something like that. Greenwood's another, it's very, very easy, very convenient to hit 99. 3rd Avenue is a big one, Greenwood Avenue, get you there, and you're closer to I-5. So definitely on the list. I would super consider looking to Greenwood. I really just, man, if you're thinking about, you want a little bit of urban, but mostly residential, mostly a neighborhood feel, but you don't want to be too far out, and maybe your price point doesn't get you into, like Ravenna or Queen Anne or something like that, or Laurelhurst or Windermere or any of those other neighborhoods, man, Greenwood's great. Number 4, we're gonna head southeast a little bit in Seattle, head down, and try to capture some views of Lake Washington, and we're going to head down to Skyway Bryn Mawr. And Skyway Bryn Mawr is a neighborhood that if you live in that area, chances are, that neighborhood really started to come up as people were working at the Boeing plant in Renton, right? So it's really close to head down into Renton to get everything that you need right there. But you're also very, very close to come into Seattle and do that. You are going to be more car dependent in that area. Insofar as transit, the light rail does come fairly close, so you can zip over and pop on the light rail, which is really, really nice for that area. But you're looking at a lot of 1950s homes that's built in that era, right? So 1950s, you're gonna have these, brick, these solid kind of brick houses. And if you're in the right area, that comes up from the lake. And so there's like the Lake Ridge neighborhood, which is all time, like great views of Lake Washington, super convenient. And then one of the benefits of being in Southeast Seattle over there, right, is Rainier Valley, Rainier Beach. This is just up on the hill from that. And so but there's a lot of diverse foods in that area, restaurants and grocery stores. So if you like trying different things, one of my favorite spots is the Original Phillies. And that's not really diverse food, but man, you can't from where I live, it's a trek to get out there. So anytime I'm down in that area, I'm always popping in there and trying to get something. Massive Philly cheesesteaks. They're probably the only, let's just take a minute to appreciate those Philly cheesesteaks. They're probably one of the only cheesesteaks on the West Coast that actually tastes like it's supposed to. So there you go. If you're coming from Philly or New Jersey or whatever, hit that up. Go see it. Let me know down in the comments. Yeah, it's good. And so, okay, so that's that Lake Ridge, Bryn Mawr, Skyway area. There are some great pockets in that neighborhood. Like I said, good access to the light rail, primarily car dependent, primarily your 1950s era homes down there. Good access to Renton, easy access up into town. It actually kind of can be a little convoluted to get into downtown Seattle from there, but no worse than Columbia City, which is a popular neighborhood that everybody loves. People move down there. Okay, this is just, people move down there and they live in Genesee, but they say they live in Columbia City. So Columbia City is like that neighborhood that people know. Even oh, we live in Columbia City. I'm like, this is actually Rainier Beach, but it's fine. That's one of those things, right? That's one of the more known neighborhoods. If the first time, let's just give you a bonus. If this is the first time you're hearing about Columbia City, it is its own little neighborhood. Shops, restaurants, has its own little vibe. Very cool little neighborhood. But I really think that Skyway, that Bryn Mawr, and the Lake Ridge area, super underrated. Super underrated. So that's number 4. And so we're jamming along, and this is it. This is the grand finale. The super grand finale, the one that you didn't expect, the one that you haven't heard about. Maybe you've heard about it, and we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it right now. This might be Seattle's most underrated neighborhood. It's Beacon Hill, guys. Beacon Hill has some. Its location is all time. Little bars, little restaurants, things are up and coming. Again, it's a product of the 1950s. A lot of those houses out there, a lot of single family houses built out there. That's generally when that neighborhood, when that area was developed, 40s and 50s. And just cute little bars, with trivia night, good. It was more of a working class neighborhood, and still has a lot of the, feels that way. I always joke about the calluses on your hands, versus carpal tunnel, right? A lot of keyboards moving in, but that's just, Seattle grows this way, right? So, but Beacon Hill, they've got their own brewery. We're starting to see, it's tidying up and it's having kind of this resurgence in that area. And I really think that, with its proximity and easy access to downtown Seattle, it does have access to the light rail. It's a little bit easier because it kind of goes like Beacon Hill, First Hill, Capitol Hill as you wind through. So a little bit easier to cross I-5 because I-5 kind of cuts all that stuff off as on the, this is such a bad map, but it kind of cuts everything off from the downtown area. But definitely a neighborhood worth thinking about if you have been priced out of Capitol Hill or First Hill, or you just want to be in a place that is a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more suburban feel to it. Man, Beacon Hill, I promise you, go to Beacon Hill, get a sandwich, grab a pint, a cup of coffee, hang out there, spend the day down there, zip around, you know, drive around a little bit, see what's out there, see what you would do, and see if it's a good fit. That's usually my recommendation for everybody is if you're, you know, if you're thinking about a neighborhood, if you can afford to do it, you know, get into town, get a sandwich because you don't want your blood sugar to crash, right? Get a cup of coffee, pick out 2 or 3 things, you know, Google 2 or 3 things in the neighborhood, see if you would take a friend or a family member that came to visit, check it out. Where would you take the dog for a walk? Is there a local park you can check out? Like, what does your perfect average day kind of look like in that neighborhood? What's that feel like? Because that's going to tell you more about whether or not that neighborhood's a good fit for you or not, right? So that's it. Get after it. So you guys know you watch these, you've seen these before. I always try to come with a little bit of extra, you know, a little bit of extra. So I want to throw out one more as a bonus. So this is going to be number 6. Seattle's top 6 underrated neighborhood. It doesn't have the same ring to it as the top 5, right? So here's the 6th one. We're going to work our way, like imagine a map of Seattle, and you're going to head west. And you're going to head over to West Seattle, but you're going to go a little bit south. I think the theme of all these neighborhoods and all these areas they're a little bit more relaxed. They're a little bit just on the threshold. They're a little bit less dense. The density isn't there. The skyscrapers, the townhouses, most of these areas all have a good opportunity for single family homes still, right? So they're still out there. And so what's cool about West Seattle is, you know, you have Alki Beach, you got sandy beaches, you've got Junction neighborhood, and you can work your way all down, and there's all these little bars and restaurants that have waterfront that work your way down around. And you keep following that coastline, you get down to Fauntleroy Beach, right? And there's the ferry there at Fauntleroy that takes you over to Port Orchard, across the Puget Sound. But you work your way down, and there's a neighborhood there that is the cutest little darling neighborhood called Arbor Heights. Arbor Heights is just some kind of Americana cute. It is just, and it's just south of Fauntleroy. It's north of Burien. It's a great little spot. There's some view property out there where you can see, you know, you see the Puget Sound from there. It's really easy access. Once you're that far south, I mean, you've got all of West Seattle to enjoy. You've got decent access over to I-5 north and south. So you can go do most of your shopping in Burien, right? I think they even, you know, pay less sales tax in Burien than we do in Seattle. So you get a win there. So it's super convenient location, right? Depending on where, if you have to commute or where you're headed, and you just get to, you know, breathe a little bit easier. The neighborhood, the houses there, just, you know, it's a nice area. So something to think about, something to consider. Those neighborhoods, let's hit them really quick all the way through. We talked about Greenwood and Crown Hill. We talked about Georgetown. We talked about Beacon Hill. Seattle's just not everything's named a hill, but there's a lot of hills. Lower Queen Anne and Uptown, and Lake Ridge, Bryn Mawr, Skyway, that area there, and then Arbor Heights. I think that if you dig into that a little bit, you can see, you'll be able to see what those neighborhoods really have to offer, and see that they are just like adjacent to some of the other great neighborhoods that everybody talks about. But these neighborhoods, yeah, man, you don't want to miss them. You don't want to miss them. So really appreciate you guys checking out the video. Look, if you haven't reached out to us yet, you got to reach out to us. Shoot me a text, give me a call. Let's connect. Let's talk more about those neighborhoods. See if we can get any more details and information over to you. And then, hey, drop me a comment below. Let me know what you're looking for, what kind of videos you want to see, questions, comments. If you're local and you're seeing this video and you think I'm way off base, you know, light me up. I'm all for it. Wish you guys the best, and we'll see you in the next one. Talk to you.